All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and this is our Kistler Vineyards review. This is a tasting we do just because I like Kistler. I mean, this is one of my favorite Chardonnay producers in California, and most people don't realize they make some of the greatest Pinot Noirs. Also, Mark Bixler and Steve Kistler started this label in 1979, and right, they hit the ground running. The first vintage got rave reviews. Second vintage, you only have a chance to do things right once or screw them up once, and they didn't have such a successful vintage. 1980, a lot of people thought, oh, Kistler Vineyard's a flash in the pan, but every other vintage, they have hit it, almost out of the park. These guys, one of the few wineries that have scored 100 points or close to that for their Chardonnays. Chardonnay, for some reason, doesn't get the respect that red wine does, but these wines age very well. They're all from single vineyard sites. Well, I shouldn't say all of them. They do have some entry-level wines like the Noisetier, which is a blend of different vineyard sites, which is what we started with. The 2012 looks like an outstanding vintage in California for Chardonnay, and this 2012 had a lot of luscious ripe fruit and still very primary, but lovely creamy texture and some minerality. All these wines speak about the vineyards where they're from, which is what Kistler is all about, these great single vineyard sites. Well, the 2005 Cuvee Cathleen, Kistler Vineyard, which is produced from solely from one block within the Kistler Vineyard, was brought in the next day, so I figured I should bring it, the review out with this tasting. This wine had a lovely bouquet here, and it took a whole day to open up. You notice the really distinctly kind of flinty, minerally note on the nose, and some zesty lemon, citrus, green apple, and pear fruit. Still quite youthful with its fruit, and a long finish. This wine's got firm acidity. It could probably last another 5-10 years or more. This 2005 most excellent juice. Ended up being my favorite Chardonnay along with the Hyde here, but the Vine Hill, which they produced since 1991, it's the vineyard surrounding the winery, 23 years old, and this wine was several people's wine of the night here. It had a lovely structure, as Vine Hill always does, one of the longest lived of all the wines. It has a good amount of stone fruit, peach, and kind of poached pear fruit with toasty oak spice, creme caramel, cinnamon, and nutmeg spice. This wine continued to improve in the glass at the end of the night. And the next morning, it was still a contender for wine of the night. Really long mineral lace finish, that candy lemon fruit lasting all the way to the end. Most excellent juice. The Hyde Vineyard, which has been sourced since 1994, a very famous vineyard located in the heart of Carneros, and it's maritime loam soil. You notice the minerality in this wine. It really stood out, and it's got a strong acid profile also. Really concentrated, rich bouquet. A lot of pineapple fruit here. Really strong mineral, kind of seashell-like component, which just got stronger as the night went on. This was a candidate for wine of the night on a couple people's scorecard. A little bit more austere at first, but need a little time to open up and really show its stuff. A bit of that minerality showing through on the finish as well. Most excellent juice. Like I said, it was between that and the Cuvee Cathleen for me. The Hudson Vineyard, also most excellent, and also sourced since 1994, and it does have some volcanic mixed in with the maritime sedimentary soil, and you get that earthy, minerally note to the nose here, really pronounced at first. Some fresh butter toast, some rich, delicious tree fruit showing here on the nose. A very rich and creamy wine on the tongue. These 2006 is showing great structure and layers of that buttery toast and that strong mineral component lasting through the finish, like briny kind of character almost, which leaves the tongue refreshed here. Most excellent juice. The Dutton up next, and this is the vineyard they've been producing since 1979, and this is one of the top vineyard sites in Sonoma County. And wow, this wine really showing beautifully here. Had some lovely primary fruit still to it. Smooth and creamy on the tongue. A lovely vanilla bean kind of creme brulee, lemon drop candy, and a solid core of firm hand of acidity, rather. They're also holding things in place, and a tongue tingly minerality on the finish, leaving that tongue salivating. Great balance in all these wines, even though they have an oak, a lot of oak spice to them. It's not overbearing. These wines, they've been dialing back the oak like just about everybody else all over the world. The 2011 Stone Flat Vineyard, this is one of their newer vineyard sources. They've been making this since 2002. Look in the western port of Carneros. And this wine had a lovely, rich fruit on the nose here. Lemon drop candy, kind of vanilla spice, creme brulee notes. Really nice intensity on the tongue as well. Bright, zesty lemon citrus, green apple fruit. A note of nice note of toasty oak spice and that tangy mineral nuance on the finish. Excellent juice. Maybe not my favorite Chardonnay, but maybe it just needed a little time. The other wines just showing so lovely after, you know, some time in the bottle. The 1999 Sonoma Coast Pinot. Well, this is a blend of all the leftovers for them, and it's definitely their entry-level Pinot. And this wine was a bit funky on the nose at first, but really opened up nicely. Had some nice black spice and earthy characters, some barnyardy notes coming out, flowers, exotic oriental spice. The fruit kind of now taking a secondary role in the aromas, but still on the palate. This wine opened up nicely. Some zesty black raspberry fruit, silky tannins, those floral and earthy notes coming out. And this wine got better as the night went on and really showed nicely on the second day. Smooth, silky tannins and still quite fresh. Excellent juice for an older California Pinot. Very impressive, especially since it's one of Kistler's entry-level wines. The 2000 Kistler Vineyard. This is a ridge top that looks onto the coast in one direction and to the Russian River on the other. And this wine has got lovely concentrated fruit here, red and black flavors with some subtle earthy tones, showing a little bit of advancement here as it should at 2000, but not quite as advanced as the 99. Really soft and velvety on the tongue. Some nice black cherry liqueur-like fruit still showing, silky smooth tannins, and a nice zest and balance to this wine, even though, you know, these definitely California nature showing its fruit, also showing lovely freshness here and exotic spices through the finish. Most excellent juice. I really like the way this 2000 was showing. 2004 Cuvee Elizabeth, the Bodegas Highland wine, was my vote for wine of the night. This is the first vintage of this wine, and really showing lovely complexity on the nose. Really just an incredible array of like floral perfume, exotic spices, blue and black fruit notes here, and black raspberry, black cherry, oriental spices. Really lovely complexity here. On the palate, smooth and silky. One of the things we love about Pinot Noir, a very long layered finish, echoing that nuance on the nose, the spice and the floral notes. This wine had the longest finish, most excellent juice. The two new wines from Kistler Vineyard, 911, both showed really well, but I was convinced some people were going to like these ultra fruity wines better. And let me tell you, the Duck with the Hoisin barbecue was incredible with the Pinot Noirs, as was the jerk chicken with the coconut rice. Great with the Chardonnays. I think both of those two were home runs. The 911, the crowd pretty much thought they needed more time, but they had lovely richness to them, a lovely smooth, silky texture, and just incredibly thick core of fruit. These wines, like I said, just showed incredibly youthful, and they need a little bit of time to come around, both of them. But both of them most excellent. I thought they both were balanced and both worthy of putting in your cellar for another 3 to 5 years. That's what we had to drink at the Kistler tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.